My name is Ryan Mercer. This is my wife, Rachel Mercer, and we've been attending Harvest probably about 5.5 years now.
We just kind of found out, my mom had been trying to get us to come to the church for a long time, and we found it and just really found a different kind of atmosphere here. We found people that are really interested in you, relationships where you can really build your relationship with the Lord. And so our story, or at least my story, kind of begins. We both grew up in Christian homes. Both of our parents were really strong believers and really gave us that foundation to go to college and kind of have that Christian witness already. But kind of after we had been coming to Harvest, I just realized that this had all been kind of that foundation from your parents. You kind of start asking that question like, well, why do I believe? I know why my parents believe, but what does this mean to me? And what does this mean for my future? How am I going to share my story? I don't want to have to say, oh, well, my parents this, or in high school this. I really want to have a testimony. So that question just was really just kind of sitting in me, and just like, okay, I want to tell people something that the Lord is doing in my life. And that's kind of when Ryan and I really started pursuing the Lord. We got married, and after that it's just been really our testimony is, I think, of faithfulness, God's faithfulness in our lives.
Yeah, and I think for me, as far as my story goes, and the defining moment in my life is, like Rachel said, we're both raised in the church. I grew up in a Christian home. But just as I started pursuing the Lord now, I look back and my heart was more like a Pharisee growing up, where I knew the law, I knew what not to do, I knew, how a Christian should act. But I never had a relationship with Jesus. I never said, asked him for wisdom, advice. It was more about rules and regulations. And then Rachel and I, we got engaged in December of '06, and went on a retreat, college retreat, in January of '07, and just really had a word and just an encounter with God, and it became more of a relationship instead of religion. And for me, that's kind of been the turning point in my life as far as seeing God really move and experiencing God in a powerful way. And I really got the ball rolling for my life, for Rachel, and our life soon to be, and really started the momentum upward.
Yeah, and I think for me too, that story of God's faithfulness, you find yourself in tough times, and you find yourself wondering where God is a lot, and you start asking all these questions. And I think the relationships in this church really mean the most, because they're people that you can really count on. They're people that aren't going to fluff up the story and just pat you on the back and say it's all going to be okay. They're people that can hold your hand through it all and really give you God's truth. And you kind of find yourself going, okay, this is where we're meant to be. This is how we're going to make it through. And even though I don't know the answers right now, God is faithful, and we're going to continue walking this out. And we don't have answers, but we're not supposed to all the time.